There is a town in Florida called Celebration. Disney built it. Every street was perfectly planned. Every house had the same neat paint. Every lawn was trimmed to the same height. Every sidewalk was spotless. It was designed to look like the happiest place on earth. Not just the theme park down the road, but the town itself. The streets had names like Mulberry and Longmeadow. There were parks where children played. There were neighbours who waved good morning. There were families who had moved there specifically because it felt safe. Because it felt like nothing bad could ever reach them there. And in one of those homes lived a family who looked like they belonged there perfectly. A father who went to work every day. A mother who poured herself into her children. 3 kids who went to school and came home and did homework and fought over the remote and fell asleep and woke up and did it all again. A dog that wagged its tail every time someone walked through the door. A completely ordinary family. A completely real family. And no one, not a single person in that neighbourhood had any idea what was happening inside that home. No one knew that the father had already made a decision that would leave that house silent forever. Anthony Todt was born in 1,979 inches, Connecticut. He grew up in a quiet suburban area. He had a normal childhood by all accounts. He was not the kid that teachers remembered as troubled. He was not the teenager that neighbours whispered about. He was not someone who stood out for the wrong reasons. He went to school. He studied. He worked hard. He earned a degree and became a licensed physical therapist. That is a career built on trust. Patients come to you when they are in pain. They are vulnerable. They need someone to guide them through recovery. They need to believe that the person treating them genuinely wants to help. Anthony Todt was good at making people believe that. He was calm. He was attentive. He had a steady, reassuring presence that made patients feel like they were in safe hands. People trusted him professionally almost immediately, and personally the same was true. He was the kind of man who was easy to like, easy to talk to. He listened well. He remembered things about people. He made you feel like you mattered to him. That quality, that ability to make people feel safe, feel seen, feel completely at ease was real. It was genuine. And it was also, eventually, the most dangerous thing about him. He met Megan in the early 2000s. Megan was something special. Everyone who knew her said the same thing. She had this warmth that was impossible to fake. She walked into a room and people felt better for it. Not because she was loud or the center of attention, but because she was genuinely interested in other people. Genuinely kind, genuinely present. She had the kind of laugh that made other people want to laugh with her. She cared deeply about her friends, about her family, about the people in her life. And she fell in love with Anthony Todt. She saw the calm, attentive, steady man that everyone else saw. She believed in him. She trusted him. They married. They built a home. They began building a life together. And then came the children. Alec was born in 2006. He came into the world loud and curious and full of energy. He was the kind of kid who never stopped asking questions. Why does this work? How does that happen? What if we tried it this way? He had this hunger for understanding things that you could not teach. It was just part of who he was. He made friends easily. He laughed often. He had a brightness about him that people noticed. Alec was the kind of child who made parenting feel like a gift. 2 years later came Tyler. Tyler was different from his brother in the best way. Where Alec was loud and outgoing, Tyler was quieter and more observant. He noticed things that others missed. He was gentle and thoughtful in a way that surprised people. He was the kid who would notice if you seemed sad before you said a word. The kid who would sit with you without needing to fix anything, just present, just there. He had a kindness that was rare in adults, let alone in a child. And then in 2015 came Zoe, the youngest, the baby of the family. She was born into a home that already had so much love in it, and she somehow made it fuller. 4 years old at the time of her death. Still at that age where the world is entirely magical, where every bug on the sidewalk is fascinating, where every puddle deserves to be jumped in, where bedtime stories are taken completely seriously and stuffed animals have names and feelings. She still believed completely in her parents. She still thought her father was one of the safest people in the world. The family also had a dog named Breezy. Small, gentle, always nearby. The kind of dog that just wanted to be close to the people it loved. Breezy had no idea what kind of man it was living with. None of them did. This was the Todt family, and for anyone looking in from outside it, looked like a life that was working, a life that was full, a life built carefully and lovingly over years. Megan was the engine of it. She managed the household. She knew every school schedule, every appointment, every little preference of every child. She was the one who noticed when someone was having a hard day. She was the one who held the family together in all the small, invisible ways that hold families together. She was also completely in the dark about what her husband was doing, because while Megan was raising 3 children and building a home, Anthony Todt was stealing. For years, long before the family moved to Florida, he had been running a fraud operation through his physical therapy practice. He was billing insurance companies for sessions that never happened. He created fake patient records. He documented treatments that were never given. He billed for hours that were never worked. He submitted claim after claim for appointments that existed only on paper, and the insurance companies paid. They paid because the paperwork looked legitimate, because he was a licensed professional, because there was no obvious reason to doubt him. Month after month, he collected money he had not earned. Year after year, the amount grew. Hundreds of thousands of dollars stolen over the course of several years. And through all of it, Megan had no idea. She was busy. She was trusting. She was focused on her children and her home and her life. She did not know that her husband had built an entire criminal operation alongside the life they shared together. She did not know that federal investigators had started, noticing the patterns in his billing. She did not know that the FBI had opened a case and were quietly, carefully building evidence against him. And she did not know that Anthony, the moment he realized the investigation was getting close, began thinking about something that no decent person would ever allow themselves to think about. In 2017, the family moved to Celebration, Florida. Megan was excited about it. A fresh start, a new home, new schools for the children, a warmer climate. A beautiful planned community where the streets were safe and the neighbors were friendly and life could expand in new directions. Alec was 11 by then. Old enough to be a little nervous about switching schools, but excited about the adventure of a new place. Tyler was 9, adaptable and calm as always. Zoe was barely 2. Too young to understand the move, but happy as long as her family was together. Anthony smiled and helped pack boxes and drove the moving truck and told everyone this was going to be a wonderful new chapter. He lied. Anthony Todt did not move to Florida for a fresh start. He moved to put distance between himself and the FBI investigation in Connecticut. He moved because he thought distance might buy him time. The fraud did not stop in Florida. It continued. New claims, new fake records, new stolen money. The lies continued. The performance of a normal, happy family life continued, and the investigation continued too. Because the FBI does not stop because someone moves states. By late 2019, Anthony Todt knew with certainty that the charges were coming. He knew the timeline was short. He knew that federal agents were close to making a move. And faced with that reality, faced with the prospect of being arrested, charged, tried, and imprisoned, he made a decision that is almost impossible to hold in your mind. Rather than face what was coming, rather than tell his wife the truth, find a lawyer, take responsibility for what he had done, he decided his family would not outlast him. He bought Benadryl, diphenhydramine, available at any pharmacy, sold as a sleep aid. In normal doses, it makes you drowsy. In large doses, it causes heavy sedation. Your body becomes slow. Your mind becomes foggy. You cannot think clearly. You cannot resist. You cannot fight back. He mixed it into their food and drinks. Not once, over a period of time, carefully, quietly, making sure no one noticed, making sure everyone stayed calm. And then when they were sedated, when his wife and his children were helpless, he suffocated them. Megan first, then Alec, 13 years old, then Tyler, 11 years old, then Zoe, 4 years old, and then Breezy, one by one, his wife, his 3 children, the family dog, in his own home, with his own hands. 5 lives ended, and then he stayed. He did not call anyone. He did not go to the police. He did not run. He stayed in that apartment, with his wife, with his children, with the dog. For weeks he lived in that apartment alongside them. And during those weeks when neighbours asked where Megan and the kids were, he told them Megan had taken the children up to Connecticut to visit. Family. He said it casually. He said it easily. He said everyone was fine, just away for a while. He answered text messages from people who were checking in on the family.